Top energy equipment maker GE Vernova is bullish on prospects for its gas business in Asia, given the two biggest economies, China and Japan, and the growing global south. Well, today, GE Vernova's gas and wind turbines help to generate up to a third of the world's electricity. But as CNA's Roland Lim found out when he caught up with Scott Strazik, CEO of GE Vernova, soaring power needs for data centers is boosting demand.
The data center opportunity, certainly there's a lot of hyperscaler investments into Southeast Asia to place data centers for AI in different fashions, whether that be Malaysia, Indonesia, kind of leveraging a lot of the infrastructure from Singapore in those growth opportunities that have a little bit more space. We see real opportunities wherever you have economies that are continuing to grow. You think about places like Taiwan, there's real need for more electrons when you think about chip foundries and factories that require real demand in different ways, and we see opportunity to serve that market. You can't really be talking about Asia and not think about the largest economies in Asia, whether it be China or Japan for that matter, that create real demand opportunities. So it's less about which markets are we focused on and not, and more that there's different markets that require different solutions because they have different resources.
With, I guess, the demand of new energy, would you be able to meet the pipeline? I mean, are you in an overcapacity state right now or undercapacity?
Well, it depends on where in the portfolio, but I do think there will be supply chain constraints for us to be able to meet the demand as quickly as the market wants it today. And the geopolitics of supply chains are difficult. So that's going to be a real opportunity for the companies that can figure that out and navigate that effectively. But it's not going to be easy to fulfill on the demand that's ahead of us, but I like our chances.
Elaborate on the supply chain issues that management is facing right now.
Well, we just continue to live in a world where there's demand for a lot of different industries for similar parts. If you think about gas turbines as an example, a lot of the supply chain that serves the gas turbine market's the same supply chain that serves aircraft engines. A lot of commonality with the technology, both industries that are growing substantially right now. So whether it be what we do in our factories or our partnership with our supply base, they're seeing demand from multiple industries right now, and getting our fair share is a challenge every day that we work to navigate in serving our customers.
What sort of investments is GE Vernova making in order to support the energy infrastructure in this particular region as it transitions towards green energy?
We have big power businesses with both gas and nuclear. We've got a large wind business, and we have a large electrification business that includes physical investments in the grid, but also grid software to support making the brains of the grid a lot smarter. One of the things we talked about with our investors in December is that we're growing our R&D budget about 20% in 2025, and that's a growth in R&D across the portfolio. Power generation with things like small modular reactors, areas where we're trying to increase the hydrogen combustion capability of our gas turbines, which will be very important for this region. But we're also working on continuing to strengthen the quality of our wind turbines and really expanding our grid offerings, because if you think about Singapore as an example, for us to really be able to decarbonize the grid in Singapore, some of it's going to happen with power generation here, but it's also going to require grid connections from other parts of the region that bring in zero carbon solutions. These are all things we're investing into.
Of the three business segments within GE Vernova, which do you see the fastest growing in Asia?
Well, sitting here in Singapore as an example, I mean, we continue to invest substantially into our gas power business. We have our largest repair facility here in Singapore that is for not just the region, but also for the world, which is incredibly important, because the reality is the world needs power-dense solutions that take up a limited amount of space and that can create a lot of electrons, and gas is very well situated for that. We often talk, though, about the fact that a dollar invested in gas is not a dollar invested in carbon forever, and that's where we're making investments for the region with different combustion of whether it be hydrogen, whether it be ammonia. We have an important partnership with IHI that we're working to develop an ammonia combustion capability in Japan that's critically important. And we're also investing in things like carbon capture because that's going to be important for the region. So that's on the power side, but as I mentioned before, we're also doing a lot in the grid because the reality is the investments in the grid are probably 3 times what it is in the power generation source for us to make this complicated system work.